you dance, the way you smile, the way you move, where you are. It makes me wonder.
You ever going through your phone or something and you see a pic from like 2016 and you're like, I look, I was that size. I used to look like that. And, you know, you realize now that, wait, but, I kind of don't mind looking like that now. What do you all think is like the psychology behind it? What did it make you realize? Did it make you change anything in your lifestyle? What came out of that encounter with your past self?
Okay, this was actually something that I went through. I think it probably was this year self, where it's like, you realize that a lot of the things that you feel bad about or you felt bad about in yourself was actually because of like external influence. So like I remember same thing would happen to me where you would like look back and you'd be like, wow, but I actually used to look very good. Why I used to be so hard on myself. And then like you realize it's because of what you were seeing or what you were hearing around you that made you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't like this. Because I know like personally, there are lots of stuff that I never felt bad about until I heard somebody else paint it in a bad light. So I think that's definitely what used to happen with me. Like that's what influenced it. There's a lot of external um, influences, but then you just have to come to the point where you realize, I like myself. So that's just all that matters. Or to get to a point where you just like yourself. So what other people say and like their influence wouldn't really have any major impact on you.
Zakiya is making me feel emotional. She's so right. It's like, yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. It has some pictures I look at and I'm like, oh my god, why did I do my makeup like that? It was very cakey. So yeah, those are the pictures I look at and be like, no. But no, I think definitely the external pressures, and people be like, no, you can't wear that, or you can't do this, and then there's things that you didn't even feel bad about, because I never really used to feel terrible about myself. But I think people used to make you feel worse about yourself from just the things that they said. And you just and that used to make you second guess the way that you looked, or even fifth guess, sixth guess. And you were like, what? I don't even feel this way about myself. Why are you trying to make me feel this way about myself? And I think those are the kind of situations. And now I think it's kind of growing. And now you have to let go of those external pressures and realizing yourself that, yeah, if you feel all right, then it really matters what other people think, and you're cool. So yeah, I think kind of just backing up what Zakiya said.
I feel like I had like a very similar experience to Risha. Like I feel like I felt really fine about things until like people made like backhanded comments or said something, or the way people spoke about a feature that I had in front of me. I think that is the like time when I'm like, does this does how I look really look that bad to other people? Because I was here all the time thinking I look fine and my body was fine, and then people would come and be like, oh, but you're so skinny and you gain weight and you're really fat chested. And it's only when people like told me those things that I think, are those features as bad as they say it is? And those things are the things that kind of created doubt in myself rather than me myself automatically feeling it as an insecurity. But on some level, I think almost all insecurities are usually external factors. Like, what would people even think is actually attractive if we weren't told what is attractive? Like, we're told what's attractive by media, we're told what's attractive by TV, by celebrities. A lot of what we think is attractive is because we're kind of socialized to certain features, to certain body types. So I feel like on some level, almost all insecurities are kind of grounded in the fact that we are told attractive. Because I think if people didn't have that level of socialization, certain things would never be like an issue and would never be an insecurity, because no one has set that standard that, hey, you know, this is something you shouldn't feel bad about. It's just a bunch of people telling us what doesn't look good and what we should feel bad about. and it's all fake. It's all fake and it's not real.
But I mean, like, for me personally, right, nowhere along the lines you ever wondered, like, who made X or Y the authority on what is beautiful or what everybody should see or should want to see. Like, I always used to wonder, like, where you come from, just so, to tell me X about me isn't appealing to you. I wasn't put here for you. That was always just my mentality about it.
That's very
Exactly,
true,
because
Sidique. Very true.
that's so true. Because who made these things unattractive? You know, like would we really think that that feature was unattractive unless someone else said that? Would we really?
If we're looking at modern perceptions of attractiveness, I guess we could all agree it's largely Eurocentric. That's the politically correct term, right? And my issue with that is that I mean we black, all of us here black, right? In some way, shape, or form. Those ideals and standards might not apply to us, if not culturally or even ethnically, but yet for all, the Eurocentric ideal stands. And we forced to comply and abide to it to the point where, well, perhaps now, if anything, the culture has changed more towards acceptance for, people of color and their unique looks and stuff. But I mean, as little as what, 20, 30 years ago, you had a certain way to look. Not to say the way to look as a thing that doesn't exist now, because if the upsurge of people taking butt augmentation surgeries is any indication, it's just a matter of the ideal changing from then to now. But the ideal and the fact that society forces you to look a certain way, or at least encourages you to look a certain way, definitely persists even today. And that might just be an example for females, but I would say it definitely is a thing for males also. Just look at any action movie. The protagonist, most times the female, is chiseled, strong, like any of the rock rules. In fact, Jason Momoa rules for that matter. A lot of actors, portray that image. If you go back even further, Arnold Schwarzenegger made his name being the buff, gritty, tough man. Him and Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme, I could go on. Men grow up seeing these things and internalize these ideals. And then, well, of course, now if that's the ideal, and you look at yourself and naturally you fall short in some way, shape, or form, you start to feel bad, and that's where insecurities start to take roots.
If I could add something, well, something that stood out to me, someone said something like, who decided what is unattractive? And very recently, I found out that hip dips were unattractive. I didn't even know what those were, to be very honest. I didn't know if it's Zakiya I messaged or someone I messaged, and I was like, what are hip dips? And like, I want to see what it is like. I was like, why are they unattractive? And then like, when I saw what they were, I was like, that thing is unattractive. That's not even real. Like, who made up this rule that this little thing that I don't even think I'd ever notice is unattractive? And I think that's crazy. Like, how they come up with these new unattractions.
But it's not even new. I feel like you could pinpoint any little thing within yourself and find a flaw, but then it'll be like also from society being like, oh, this is not okay, or your cellulite, your nose has a bump, or this, and then you will see it and it'll become so huge in your world. And if you are okay with yourself and be like, oh, it's fine. But then if you really and truly are not there, it will become such a massive deal for you, and it could be such a slippery slope.
So you remember when the gap tooth, like the space in your tooth, that was an issue? When they used to like laugh at people like that you're growing up and they're like, the space. And then I would see like models and they trying to widen the space and they're emphasizing it. And like Rihanna has I forgot the model's name. A model that she uses and she has like a very wide gap. And it's like that's a big thing now. There's like, oh yeah, the gap tooth. And I'm like, I see people get dragged and bullied in primary school for this, and now this is like a, you know, Tyra having someone's gap widen. That's crazy how things change.
Girl,